Listen to me closely, because after this you will never see yourself the same way again. You have been lied to. You have been told that attraction is about looks, status, or money. But the truth is far more powerful than you ever imagined. Because once you understand this, men will think about you all night. They will lose sleep over you. And they won't even know attraction is not what you've been told. It is not a game of appearance, not a currency of wealth, not a checklist of superficial traits. It is energy. Raw, undeniable, magnetic energy. And the moment you understand this, the moment you truly embody this, you will step into a profound. The people won't just be drawn to you, they won't be able to escape you. Think about this. Have you ever seen someone enter a room, and without a word, without even trying, all eyes turn to them? They're not necessarily the best looking. They're not the wealthiest. But something about them grips the air, shifts the energy, commands attention in a way that is almost supernatural. This is not luck. This is not coincidence. This is frequency, vibration. A field of energy so potent that it forces the world to respond. Most people are living in a state of unconsciousness. They are walking through life with no control over their energy, no mastery over their presence, simply reacting to the external world like a leaf in the wind. And this is why they are invisible. This is why they are ignored. Because the universe does not reward passivity. It does not respond to the lost, the uncertain, the desperate. It moves toward power. It bends toward certainty. When you grasp this truth, you no longer seek validation. You no longer chase, because you realize that attraction is not about them, it is about you. It is about how you make people feel in your presence. And the way you do that is not by force, not by demand, but by becoming a source of undeniable energy. Energy that others cannot ignore. Energy that pulls them in, grips their mind, stays with them long after you're gone. People do not remember words, they do not remember details, they remember how you made them feel. And the most powerful force in the universe is emotion. It overrides logic, it rewires memory, it imprints deep into the subconscious, shaping decisions in ways even they don't understand. When you become a master of energy, you become a master of emotion. And when you become a master of emotion, you become unforgettable. This is why people become obsessed with certain individuals, why they cannot stop thinking about them, why they dream about them, why their presence lingers in the mind like a haunting melody. It is because they have activated something deep inside, a frequency that is impossible to ignore. And that is the kind of attraction that transcends looks, that defies logic, that cannot be explained, only felt. But here's the secret: most people will never tell you energy is not something you have. It is something you generate. It is something you cultivate, something you create within yourself, until it radiates so intensely that the world has no choice but to notice. Confidence is not a birthright. Magnetism is not genetic. These are frequencies, and frequencies can be tuned, amplified, sharpened like a weapon. You must understand that most people exist at a low vibration. They are filled with self-doubt, insecurity, fear. Their energy is scattered, weak, fragile. They walk into a room and their presence is barely felt because they have no command over their own state. But the moment you step into a higher frequency, the moment you master your own energy, you become the exception, the outlier, the force that cannot be ignored. And this is why attraction is never about words, never about tactics, never about trying to impress. It is about alignment, internal alignment that radiates outward so powerfully that people feel it before they even hear you speak. They sense it in the way you move, the way you carry yourself, the way your eyes lock onto theirs with an intensity that shakes their very core. You see, energy is contagious. When you operate at a high frequency, you force others to rise to meet you, or they will be left behind. And this is why some people become addictive, why their presence becomes a drug, why others crave their energy like oxygen. Because when you embody strength, when you radiate certainty, when you step into a space with the knowing that you are already chosen, already powerful, already enough, you create a gravitational pull that is inescapable. Most will never reach this level. Most will waste their time chasing external validation, trying to impress, trying to prove their worth, instead of realizing that true attraction is never external, it is internal mastery that creates external results. And the moment you stop chasing and start embodying, the game changes. People start noticing. The energy shifts in your favor. The world begins to respond differently. Because you are no longer operating from neediness, you are operating from abundance. Attraction is not a game. It is not a trick. It is a law. A force of nature as real as gravity. And those who understand it, those who learn to wield it, those who cultivate it with unwavering focus, become unstoppable. They become unforgettable. They leave a mark so deep that people think about them, dream about them, obsess over them, and they don't even know why. This is your power. This is your truth. And when you step into it, the world will never see you the same way again. The human mind is addicted to unfinished patterns. It cannot stand unresolved thoughts. It is wired to seek completion, to close loops, to find answers to things that remain open-ended. And this is exactly why people become obsessed, why someone lingers in the mind, why certain people are unforgettable, while others are instantly forgotten. It is not by accident. It is not by luck. It is because their presence disrupts the ordinary. They create a disturbance in the subconscious, and the brain is forced to return to them over and over again. Most people live their lives in predictable patterns. They move in a straight line. They say the expected things. They act in ways that fit neatly into the boxes society has built for them. And because of this, they do not create an impact. They are easily categorized, easily understood, and most dangerously easily dismissed. The brain does not hold on to what it already knows. It lets go of what is familiar because familiarity breeds indifference. But when something does not fit the pattern, when something disrupts the expected flow of thought, the brain locks onto it like a predator tracking its prey. This is why obsession happens. This is why some people cannot be forgotten. It is because they have broken the pattern. They have left something unresolved, something unanswered, something that demands attention even when they are not around. And this is the secret that few will ever understand. Attraction is not about being the most available, the most predictable, the most accommodating. It is about becoming the thought that refuses to leave, the mystery that demands to be solved, the presence that lingers like a question with no answer. People are not obsessed with what they understand. They are obsessed with what confuses them, what challenges them, what forces them to engage on a deeper level than they are used to. The moment you become fully predictable, fully understood, fully categorized, you become forgettable. The mind has no reason to return to you, no reason to replay your words, no reason to keep you alive in memory. But when you create an open loop, when you leave something unanswered, when you disrupt the flow of expectation, you become the thought that does not leave, the feeling that lingers long after you have gone. Think about it. Why do people replay certain conversations in their minds? Why do they revisit specific moments over and over again, unable to let them go? It is not because those moments were the most pleasant, the most logical, or even the most meaningful. It is because something in those moments was left open-ended. Something was unresolved. Something created an internal friction that the subconscious is desperate to smooth out. And until it does, the mind will keep returning, like an addict needing another hit, like a detective obsessing over a mystery they cannot solve. This is the key to making people think about you long after you have left the room. Do not give them closure. Do not give them the full answer. Do not give them what they expect in a neat and predictable way. Disrupt the flow of their thinking. Introduce a new variable. Become the one thing in their life that does not fit the pattern they are used to. And watch as their mind, unable to resist, pulls you back into their consciousness again and again and again. The greatest mistake people make is believing that being liked is the same as being unforgettable. It is not. People like what is comfortable, what is safe, what is easy to digest. But they do not obsess over it. They do not lie awake at night thinking about it. They do not feel an unexplainable pull toward it. That kind of power is reserved for what is slightly out of reach, what is just beyond their understanding, what forces them to engage in a way they are not used to. And once you become that, you will never be ignored again. Energy follows focus. What you think about the most, you give power to. And the mind will always focus on what feels unresolved. If you can position yourself as an unfinished story, as a thought that remains open-ended, as an interaction that was powerful, but not fully completed, then you have just hacked the system. You have implanted yourself into someone's subconscious in a way they cannot control. They will think about you not because they choose to, but because they have no other option. Their mind is wired to return to what remains undone. Most people are too afraid to leave things open-ended. They fear being misunderstood. They fear not explaining themselves fully. They fear not giving the whole story. But this is exactly why they do not stand out. They wrap everything up too neatly, too quickly, too predictably. And in doing so, they make themselves easy to file away, easy to categorize, easy to forget. But the moment you embrace the power of the unresolved, the moment you understand that obsession is born from curiosity, from unpredictability, from the inability to fully grasp something, you become magnetic. You become the thought they cannot escape. You become the pattern they cannot complete. And that is when you become truly unforgettable. The greatest illusion in attraction is the belief that giving more will make someone value you more. That if you pour out all your thoughts, all your emotions, all your availability, they will somehow appreciate it. But the truth is the opposite. The more you give away, the less they crave you. The more accessible you are, the less their mind lingers on you. The more they feel they have you all figured out, the less value you hold in their world. The human brain does not chase what it already possesses. It does not crave what is fully available. It does not obsess over what is completely known. It longs for what is slightly out of reach, for what feels just beyond its grasp, for what carries an air of unpredictability, for what keeps it searching, wondering, desiring. Mystery is power. It is the force that keeps the mind engaged, that keeps thoughts returning, that keeps someone feeling like they need to uncover more, to earn more, to reach for something they are not yet certain they fully possess. It is the reason why some people, despite being attractive, despite being kind, despite offering everything on a silver platter, still find themselves ignored, overlooked, and taken for granted. Because they have given too much. They have left nothing to be discovered. They have robbed the mind of its need to chase, to explore, to crave. And in doing so, they have made themselves too easy, too predictable, too dispensable. If you want to stay on someone's mind, if you want them to feel your presence even in your absence, if you want them to replay moments with you, long after you have left the room, you must leave them with questions. You must make them feel that there is always more to you than what they have seen. You must become the person they cannot fully grasp, the person who lingers in their thoughts, because they feel they have not yet unlocked all of you. People do not become obsessed with what is simple, with what is obvious, with what is laid out before them without challenge. They become obsessed with what feels like a puzzle, with what makes them feel something they do not fully understand, with what makes them question whether they truly know you or whether there is something deeper still waiting to be uncovered. The mistake most people make is assuming that to be interesting, they must talk more, share more, be more available, be more predictable. But in doing this, they remove the very thing that creates attraction, the unknown. The moment someone feels they fully understand you, the moment they feel they have nothing left to figure out, you become part of the background. You become just another thought in a crowded mind. You become a completed book that no longer needs to be read. But when you hold something back, when you leave certain things unsaid, when you give them a taste but never the full meal, you activate their subconscious need to keep coming back, to keep searching, to keep wondering. And in that wondering, you become unforgettable. The most magnetic people in the world are not the ones who say the most, who explain the most, who give everything away without hesitation. They are the ones who hold an energy of mystery, who make you feel that there is something beneath the surface, something you cannot quite put into words, something that keeps you intrigued, captivated, thinking about them long after they have left. They are the ones who can look at you in a way that makes you feel something deep, but never fully explained. They are the ones who know how to say just enough to spark curiosity, but never so much that they become predictable. They are the ones who understand that true attraction is not about being fully available. It is about being slightly out of reach. Most people fear being misunderstood. They fear not revealing everything about themselves. They fear being seen as distant, as hard to read, as someone who does not always explain their thoughts or emotions in full. But the truth is, this is exactly what makes people fascinating. This is exactly what creates the kind of presence that lingers in the mind. Because when something is not fully explained, the brain fills in the gaps. The mind keeps coming back, trying to piece things together, trying to understand, trying to complete the puzzle. And in doing so, it becomes more and more attached, more and more drawn in, more and more obsessed. The people who are the most unforgettable are the ones who leave something unresolved, who make you feel something but do not fully define it, who create a space where curiosity can grow, where desire can build, where the mind is forced to keep returning over and over again, in search of more. They do not overshare because they know that mystery is more powerful than explanation. They do not over-explain because they know that what is left unsaid is often more compelling than what is spoken. They do not make themselves fully available, because they know that people do not crave what is already in their hands, they crave what feels beyond their reach. If you want to become unforgettable, you must learn the power of restraint. You must understand that attraction is not about giving everything, it is about knowing what to withhold, what to leave open-ended, what to allow others to wonder about. The mind does not become obsessed with what it fully understands. It becomes obsessed with what it feels but cannot fully define. And once you master this, once you learn how to hold just enough mystery, just enough unpredictability, just enough of yourself back to keep people craving more, you will never be ignored again. People do not remember words. They do not remember logic. They remember emotion. They remember how you made them feel in a moment they did not expect. The subconscious does not hold on to facts, it holds on to experiences that shake its foundation. If you can trigger emotion in someone, you take up space in their mind. You become a moment they replay, a feeling they crave, an experience they cannot let go of. Because most people live their lives on autopilot. They go through the motions, numb, disconnected routine. They do not feel deeply, because the world has conditioned them to suppress, to stay within the lines, to exist without disruption. And then suddenly someone comes along and makes them feel something unexpected, something deep, something raw, something they cannot ignore. And just like that, they are hooked. Emotional impact is not about being nice. It is not about being agreeable. It is not about making people comfortable. It is about making them feel alive in your presence. It is about creating contrast in a world that feels flat. It is about disrupting the patterns they have lived in for years and forcing them to experience something real. When you understand this, you stop trying to impress people with words, with achievements, with surface-level qualities. You start focusing on one thing, the emotional experience they have when they are around you. Because the moment someone associates you with a deep emotion, you are no longer just another person in their world. You become an imprint in their subconscious, a feeling that lingers, a presence that does not fade. Most people operate within a narrow emotional range. They keep things safe, predictable, neutral. And this is exactly why they are forgotten. They do not create spikes in experience. They do not cause people to feel something that shakes them out of their ordinary state. They blend in because they are afraid of disrupting the norm. But disruption is the key to obsession. You do not remember the days that were the same as every other day. You remember the ones that shocked you, that excited you, that broke the pattern of what you expected. And people remember you in the same way. Not because you were logical, not because you were polite, not because you followed the script, but because you created an experience that could not be ignored. You have to understand that the subconscious mind does not measure time in minutes or hours. It measures it in emotional intensity. A single moment of deep feeling can be burned into someone's mind forever, while years of dull interaction can disappear as if they never happened. This is why time is not the factor that creates attachment, emotion is. You can spend years with someone and be forgotten, or you can spend a few minutes with them and be unforgettable. It is not about how long you are in their life. It is about how deeply you make them feel. To master this, you have to learn how to create contrast. Contrast is what makes an experience stand out. It is what makes a moment feel alive. If someone is used to people being predictable, break the pattern. If someone is used to people agreeing with them, challenge them. If someone is used to being in control, take them off balance. If someone is used to feeling like they are the most important person in the room, make them work for your attention. The brain does not hold on to what it expects. It holds on to what shakes its certainty. This is why confidence alone is not enough, because confidence without depth is forgettable. What makes you powerful is not just being sure of yourself, it is your ability to make people feel something unexpected when they are around you. Confidence is the foundation, but emotional impact is the hook. It is the thing that makes someone replay a conversation with you in their head hours later. It is the thing that makes someone remember your presence even when you are gone. It is the thing that makes someone crave more of you without understanding why. The people who stay in your mind the longest are the ones who made you feel something you could not explain. They are the ones who challenged you, who excited you, who triggered emotions you were not ready for. They are the ones who created contrast in your world, who made you feel like something was missing when they were no longer there. They are the ones who did not just fit into your life but disrupted it in a way that left a mark. And this is what you must become. Not just someone people like, not just someone people respect, but someone people feel. When you understand this, you stop trying to win people over with logic. You stop trying to prove yourself with words. You stop thinking that being available, being agreeable, being easy to understand is the path to being remembered. Instead, you start focusing on the one thing that truly matters: how people feel when they are around you. Because at the end of the day, people do not chase people. They chase emotions. They chase the way you make them feel. They chase the experience of being around you, because that experience disrupts their ordinary world. And once you create that disruption, you will never be forgotten again. People do not chase people. They chase what is uncertain. They chase what they cannot fully grasp. They chase what triggers the primal fear of loss, the subconscious whisper that something valuable might slip away if they do not act. The human brain is not designed to value what is always there. It is designed to crave what it fears it might lose. This is the reason why people ignore what is guaranteed but become obsessed with what feels just beyond their reach. It is why someone can take you for granted when you are available but suddenly think about you all night the moment you pull away. It is why certainty breeds complacency and uncertainty breeds desire. Most people make the mistake of thinking that in order to be valued, they must give more. They believe that if they show more affection, more loyalty, more availability, the other person will finally realize their worth. But this is not how human nature works. The mind is not attached to what it already possesses. It attaches to what feels like it could disappear. This is why love often feels strongest when distance is introduced. Why absence creates presence. Why losing access to someone suddenly makes them seem irreplaceable. It is not the person they are chasing, it is the feeling of loss they are trying to prevent. Scarcity is power. When something is rare, it becomes valuable. When something is always available, it becomes background noise. This is the reason why people will ignore countless messages but obsess over the one that never came. It is the reason why people will lose interest in someone who is always there but cannot stop thinking about the one who left. The mind is wired to focus on what is missing. It does not replay what is predictable, it replays what is uncertain. If you want to be unforgettable, you must learn the power of absence. You must understand that pulling away is not about playing games, it is about triggering the part of the brain that recognizes value. The fear of loss is stronger than the desire for gain. This is a fundamental law of human psychology. People will fight harder to keep something they believe they are losing than they will to obtain something they believe they can have at any time. This is why people do not notice what is in front of them until it is gone. This is why someone who took you for granted will suddenly remember everything about you the moment you stop being accessible. Their mind is not reacting to you, it is reacting to the shift in scarcity. You've gone from an expectation to a question mark, from a presence to an absence, from certainty to uncertainty. And that uncertainty is what keeps them awake at night. When you are always available, when you always respond, when you always make it clear that you are waiting, you become predictable. And the predictable is easily ignored. But when your presence is not guaranteed, when you do not always respond, when you create gaps in their experience of you, you force their mind to fill in those gaps. You force their brain to wonder. You force them to start thinking about you in a way they never had to before. Because now you are not just an option, they are suddenly aware that you could become a memory. And nothing makes the mind hold onto something tighter than the fear of losing it forever. This is why people chase what they cannot have. It is not because they do not care about those who are available, it is because their mind is wired to value what is at risk. The moment someone believes they could lose you, they are forced to reevaluate everything. They are forced to ask themselves if they are willing to let you go. They are forced to feel emotions they never had to confront when they believed you would always be there. And those emotions, once activated, are what make you unforgettable. You must understand that attraction is not about being the best option. It is about being the one that triggers the strongest emotional response. It is about making someone feel something they do not feel with anyone else. And nothing triggers emotion more than uncertainty. The moment you introduce the possibility of loss, the moment you remove your guaranteed presence, the moment you create space instead of constantly filling it, you shift from being taken for granted to being desperately desired. Most people will never understand this. They will keep giving more, hoping to be noticed, hoping to be valued, hoping to finally be appreciated. And in doing so, they will make themselves invisible. Because the truth is, value is not communicated through words. It is communicated through scarcity. It is communicated through presence and absence, through availability and withdrawal, through being there just enough to be felt but not enough to be taken for granted. This is why the most unforgettable people are not the ones who are always present, they are the ones who create space, who make their presence an event, who are never fully owned but always deeply felt. You do not become irreplaceable by being constantly available. You become irreplaceable by being a presence that is never fully secured, by being someone who is always desired but never completely possessed. The moment someone believes they have you no matter what, they stop valuing you. But the moment they fear they might lose you, they start seeing everything they ignored. And once that fear is triggered, once that scarcity is felt, once they realize that your presence is not guaranteed, you will live in their mind with an intensity they cannot escape. People do not obsess over what is easy. They do not lose sleep over what they fully understand. The human mind is wired for challenge, for uncertainty, for the thrill of the unknown. The moment something becomes too easy to obtain, it loses its value. The moment someone feels they have completely figured you out, you become ordinary. And nothing ordinary ever keeps a person awake at night. This is why the ones who are most desired are not the ones who are always available, always explaining, always making sure they are understood. They are the ones who remain slightly unpredictable, slightly out of reach, slightly beyond full comprehension. Because when the mind cannot fully grasp something, it keeps returning to it over and over again, trying to fill in the missing pieces. If you want to be the one they think about all night, you must understand that predictability is the enemy of desire. The moment someone knows exactly what you will say, how you will react, how you will behave, they stop thinking about you. Their mind does not need to replay your words, does not need to analyze your actions, does not need to wonder what you truly meant. You have given them certainty, and certainty is the death of attraction. The human brain is addicted to solving puzzles. It is drawn to what is slightly unclear, slightly confusing, slightly unresolved. This is why people become obsessed with those who make them question, who make them feel something they cannot fully define, who leave them with emotions they do not entirely understand. Because the mind cannot let go of what it has not yet solved. Most people believe that if they explain themselves more, if they are more available, if they make everything clear, they will be more appreciated. But the opposite is true. The more someone feels they already have you figured out, the less they need to think about you. The less they need to analyze your actions, the less they need to wonder how you feel. And once the wondering stops, the obsession fades. The secret to staying on someone's mind is to leave them with questions. To create moments that feel meaningful, but slightly unresolved. To make them feel something intense, and then pull away before they can fully process it. Because what is unresolved does not disappear, it lingers. It plays on repeat in the back of the mind. It refuses to be forgotten. The reason why certain people haunt your thoughts is not because they were always there for you. It is not because they made everything easy, predictable, clear. It is because they left gaps in the story. Because they made you feel something you could not fully explain. Because they were present in a way that made you crave more, but never fully satisfied that craving. This is why people chase what they cannot have. It is not because they enjoy suffering. It is because their mind is addicted to the search, to the uncertainty, to the emotional roller coaster that keeps them engaged. And the moment they feel they have won, that chase dies. This is why relationships often lose their passion over time, not because love fades, but because mystery disappears. Because the person who was once a world of unknowns has become a predictable routine. Because the mind no longer has anything left to chase. If you want someone to think about you long after you have left, you must learn how to become an open-ended story. You must understand that attraction is not about making people feel comfortable, it is about making them feel alive. It is about making them experience emotions they do not fully understand. It is about giving them moments of intensity and then stepping back before they can fully process what just happened. Because that moment of uncertainty, that unresolved emotional spike, is what their mind will keep returning to. It is what will make them replay conversations with you in their head, trying to decipher hidden meanings. It is what will make them wonder how much of you they have truly seen and how much more there is still left to uncover. People do not crave clarity. They crave emotion. They crave depth. They crave the feeling of standing on the edge of something unknown. This is why the ones who are the most unforgettable are not the ones who are the most open, the most obvious, the most explainable. They are the ones who carry an air of mystery. The ones who can make you feel something with a single look, but never fully reveal what that look means. The ones who give just enough to ignite the fire, but never enough to fully satisfy it. Because desire is born in the space between what is known and what is unknown. And once you fully close that space, you kill the very thing that kept you alive in their mind. Most people do not understand this. They believe that if they just show more, give more, explain more, they will finally be seen, finally be understood, finally be valued. But the ones who are valued the most are the ones who never give themselves away completely. The ones who are always just slightly beyond reach. The ones who make you feel something powerful but never fully define it. Because the mind does not replay what it fully understands. It replays what it is still trying to figure out. It replays the unfinished story, the incomplete conversation, the moment that ended before it felt complete. And it replays it over and over again, searching for an answer that never comes. You do not need to be the most beautiful, the most successful, the most charming person in the room to be the one they cannot stop thinking about. You just need to understand how the mind works. You need to understand that people do not crave what they already have. They crave what they fear they might lose. They crave what they cannot fully understand. They crave what leaves them with questions, with emotions that refuse to settle, with a feeling they cannot quite put into words. And once you learn how to create that feeling, once you learn how to become a presence that is both felt and slightly out of reach, you will become the one they remember long after everyone else has been forgotten. Energy is the most powerful force in human connection. People do not remember words as much as they remember how those words made them feel. They do not recall every detail of your presence, but they will never forget the energy you brought into their space. Energy is the silent language that speaks louder than any words ever could. It is the invisible force that lingers long after you have left, the presence that remains in their mind even when they try to move on. If you want to be unforgettable, if you want to be the one they think about long after the conversation has ended, you must master the power of energy. Because energy is not just what you give off, it is what you make them feel when they are around you. Most people go through life unaware of the energy they project. They focus on their words, on their appearance, on the surface level actions they take, but they ignore the deeper frequency they emit. And this is why they are forgotten. Because attraction is not about what is seen, it is about what is felt. Someone may not even understand why they are drawn to you, why they cannot stop thinking about you, why your presence lingers in their mind like an unsolved mystery. But it is always the energy. It is always the frequency that disrupted their normal state, that made them feel something new, something rare, something they did not expect. You have walked into rooms before and immediately felt the energy shift. You have met people who, without saying a word, made you feel something deep inside your body. You have encountered those rare individuals who carry an aura so powerful that it seems to pull you into their world without effort. This is not an accident. This is not luck. This is energy at work. This is a silent force that determines who is remembered and who is forgotten. Because the mind may forget faces, may forget conversations, but it will never forget the energy that made it feel alive. There is a reason why certain people enter your life and immediately disrupt your emotions. A reason why some people make you feel safe while others make your heart race. A reason why some people leave an impact that lingers for years, even if they were only in your life for a short time. This is the power of energy. This is the unspoken force that governs attraction, that dictates who stays in our minds, that makes the difference between a fleeting thought and an obsession. If you master this, you will never be ignored again. If you learn how to control and amplify your energy, you will become a presence that cannot be forgotten. Most people operate at low energy frequencies. They move through life reacting instead of creating. They absorb the energy around them instead of setting the tone. They allow their mood, their confidence, their presence to be dictated by external circumstances. And because of this, they are invisible. They blend into the background. They do not stand out, not because they lack beauty, intelligence, or charm, but because they lack energy. Because their frequency does not disrupt the norm, does not shake the subconscious, does not create the emotional impact that forces someone to take notice. But those who master their energy, those who learn to radiate a frequency so high, so undeniable, so magnetic, become unforgettable. Energy is not just about positivity. It is not about pretending to be happy, about forcing enthusiasm, about faking confidence. True energy is raw. It is authentic. It is the full expression of who you are without fear, without hesitation, without apology. It is the ability to walk into a room and shift the atmosphere simply by being. It is the silent force that makes people turn their heads when you enter, that makes them feel something even before you speak. And this energy, once felt, is impossible to ignore. It creates an imprint in the mind, a memory in memory, a craving in the subconscious. You have seen this before. You have met someone who carried an energy so strong that it left you wondering about them long after they were gone. You have experienced the pull of someone whose presence alone made your heart race, whose aura made the air feel electric, whose energy made you question everything you thought you knew about attraction. This is not something you can fake. This is not something that can be imitated. This is the result of deep internal work, of knowing exactly who you are, of removing every block, every fear, every insecurity that dulls your natural frequency. When you unlock this, you become unstoppable. Energy is contagious. People absorb the energy of those they spend time with. This is why you can feel drained after being around someone negative. Why you can feel inspired after meeting someone powerful. Why certain people make you feel, while others make you feel small. And this is the secret to being unforgettable. You must become the person whose energy others crave. You must radiate a frequency so high, so rare, so electrifying that people cannot help but want more of it. You must become the source of the energy they are missing in their lives. And once you do, they will never be able to forget you. Most people are chasing something external. They believe that if they look better, if they say the right things, if they impress people with their achievements, they will finally be valued. But value is never external. It is always internal. It is always the energy you carry, the frequency you emit, the feeling you create in others. This is why some of the most magnetic people in the world do not have traditional beauty, do not have wealth, do not have fame. But they have energy. And that energy makes them irresistible. That energy makes them unforgettable. That energy keeps people thinking about them, wondering about them, craving more of them. You do not have to chase anyone when you master your energy. You do not have to beg for attention, for validation, for recognition. Because once you elevate your frequency, once you become the person who radiates a rare and powerful energy, people will come to you. They will feel drawn to you without understanding why. They will think about you at night without knowing what it is that has captured their mind. They will crave your presence, not because of what you say or do, but because of how you make them feel. And that feeling, once experienced, is impossible to replace. Most people think attraction is about looks, words, or actions, but they fail to understand that the deepest form of attraction is built in the mind. It is not what you do in the moment that makes someone obsessed with you. It is what they feel when you are no longer there. It is the gap you leave in their reality, the echo of your presence that lingers when everything else goes silent.